Hi folks, so most of you watching this probably are already into gaming. If you aren't, hi, welcome to the channel. But for either people who are new to gaming or folks who want to get their family and friends into gaming, I have 6 games today that I think are really great introductory games into what gaming can be. Now we all have a friend or family member who you've tried to get into gaming before and they've had some bad experiences, maybe with a game that you had to buy and sell property. But that's not really what board gaming can be. And so these are games that are quick to learn, the rules are fairly simple, and they really give a nice view of what gaming can be. So to start off, this is a game that we pull out all the time at parties and whenever we have kind of a mixed group of people who have gamed a lot and people who are new to gaming, and that is Bang. We actually have the dice version of this. I don't know if they carry the dice version anymore. I know the card game is a little different, but the premise of this is it's based on spaghetti westerns. You're either a sheriff, a deputy, a renegade, or an outlaw. I think those are the 4. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And you roll the dice that are in here, and the dice tell you what happens. So it's a pretty simple game. You roll the dice, you get to roll them 3 times, and you assign dice once you're done. The point of the game is to be the last person or group standing. So depending on what role you have, you might want to eliminate the sheriff, or if you're like on the sheriff-deputy side, you might want to eliminate everyone who aren't sheriffs and deputies. And then there are also character cards that give you special abilities. And this is a nice, easy game to pull out. It's for a big group of people, and it adds that fun element of people having different abilities based on their character cards, as well as trying to strategize a little bit about where things go, but a lot of it is chance. A lot of it is the dice. So that's a really simple one. It's also a pretty fast game to play. Nobody's turn takes forever. You roll the dice 3 times and that's your turn. And there are some fun little things in here that pop up. And it's a really nice theme to a game. So the next one is a cooperative game, and that's Forbidden Island. Kind of any of the Game Right cooperative games are fantastic. And the reason that I suggest doing this kind of game is, so if you have 1 or 2 people in a 4-player game who have not played this kind of game before or feel a little bit unsure about strategy, because it's a cooperative game, the whole group gets to discuss it. So it doesn't have as much of that like, oh, well, I'm telling you how to play the game. You are all discussing it and coming up with the plans because you all win or you all lose. And that also introduces folks to what cooperative games can be. It doesn't always have to be me versus you. It can be us versus the game. And I think that's a really fun thing to introduce, especially for folks who might not feel as confident with strategy games. Now this next game is a game that we pull out a lot of times when we just kind of want a easy kind of zen game is the best way that I can describe it, and that's Serum. Now this is a really simple game where you are dragons and you fly around the board and you place tiles that direct your dragon. You just keep following the line. There is a little bit of strategy to it, but because you only draw 3 tiles, there's also that chance of not getting a tile that's really helpful. There can be some sabotaging of placing something that helps you and hurts somebody else, but it doesn't come across as a backstabby game. And it's a very simple game, very quick to play. The rules take almost no time to teach, so it's a really easy thing to teach somebody else. You know, this is a game that we'll pull out even when it's like, I'm having a really stressful week and I don't want anything that's going to require that much attention or that much thought, but this is just such an easy game that it's fun, and even when you lose, it's an enjoyable game. So the next one is a staple of a lot of people's gaming collection, and that is Ticket to Ride. This is a game where you are building train routes all around the US. There are a couple different versions of this. I know there's a Europe, there's a Germany, Netherlands, there are a couple expansions for it out, and this is a fairly simple game to pick up and learn to play. Turns also don't take a lot of time. That is one thing I tend to steer towards with games for introducing folks to gaming, is things that an individual person's turn doesn't take too long, because you can start to lose people's attention, and especially if you have somebody who's not as comfortable with figuring out huge, really strategic games, where, okay, I can be thinking about what I'm going to be doing on my next turn, but games that are a little bit more fast-paced, so you can see how somebody plays their turn and know, oh, okay, that's how the turn is played. I'll move on to this. This is a fun one that introduces not necessarily getting in people's way, although you can play it that way, but the fact that my getting one route might prevent somebody else from getting that route. And there are a little bit more strategies to this game. There's still an element of luck, but I think this is a little bit more strategic game than some of the other games that I've talked about in this video. This is a really great one, and it's also super adorable, and that is Takeoko. The premise of this is that you are, the emperor has a panda in his garden, and you are moving the gardener around to build the gardens, as well as moving the panda to eat the bamboo. So there are 3 different kinds of things that can get you points. You can get points for laying pieces on the map. You can get points for the bamboo, growing the bamboo, essentially the gardener, and then the panda eating the bamboo. This introduces a fun element of you build the board as you go. And it also has a little bit of maybe not quite resource management, but along those lines. There's definitely some strategy to this. I will say this game is a very different game as a 2-player versus a 3+ player game. 2-player, it's almost like chess, whereas the 3+, it's a little bit harder to keep track of kind of what other people are doing and try and anticipate. So this adds a little bit of some fun, different elements, but it's still really easy to pick up. There are only so many things that you can do in a turn. It's cute, it's fun, it's light. I mean, playing as a panda, who wouldn't love that? This last one adds a little bit more strategy to it, but again, it's fairly simple in the turn order and rules, and that is Imhotep. So the premise in Imhotep is that you are building Egypt. You're building the pyramids and all of that stuff. So you kind of can see a little bit on the back of the board. You are moving your blocks around to different things, and you place them on the ship, and then you move the ships. There is some strategy to it. Some of it is luck, because you could place your blocks on a ship, and then the next player's turn, they could move that ship somewhere that you didn't anticipate on going. It's not quite an area control, but has a little bit of that aspect in it with moving the boats. And there is definite strategy to this, but there is also a good element of luck. The pieces are all simple, the rules are simple, it's fairly quick to learn, and again, the turns don't take very long. So kind of the only main board game area that I think I haven't represented is area control board games. We don't happen to have a ton of those in our collection, and most of those are a little bit more advanced. I would say those are good ones for people who have started to get into board gaming and now are like, I want to find out what the different kinds are. So if you're interested in kind of finding out some of our more like intermediate board games, let me know down below and I can share kind of my favorites with you guys. So there you go. So what are the board games that you tend to pull out when you're introducing somebody to the hobby? Do you have one that you always go to, or do you try and tailor it a little bit to that person's interests? That's another way that you could get somebody into board gaming if you know they're really into ancient Egypt. Hey, this might be a good game for them. You know, if they love trains, Ticket to Ride. So there are so many different themes to games that you can probably find a game to fit that person's interest. Yeah, if you've got any suggestions, let's chat about it down below. These actually are just kind of the games that we have in our collection. There are probably a couple others that I might pull out. Settlers of Catan is kind of a classic one. We don't actually have Settlers of Catan. We have the Settlers of Catan Star Trek, so that's why that's not in this list. But there are a number of others like Carcassonne that are easy to learn and really kind of give that feel for what board gaming can be, especially kind of the Euro gaming that has been a boom in the last several years. I want to give a special thanks to all of our patrons, especially Sean, Arvi, Lainey, and Joan. If you're interested in becoming a patron of ours, you can go over and check out some of our cool perks. For just $1 a month, you get videos a day early. But we also have some other ones over there that you can go check out. Regardless, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment and share, and especially subscribe so you don't miss any videos. But we do make videos here every Tuesday and Thursday on board games and RPGs and kind of all of our geeky interests. Thanks again for watching. This is Roll for Initiative, and we'll see you next time. Bye! It's a very, very warm day today. Okay, goodbye!